And I think our message to the people of Scotland is you like what we've delivered on education and on health. The fact that we don't have tuition fees in Scotland is another clear example. The time now is to complete that journey and to make sure that we can protect the economic interests of the people of Scotland by being an independent country in the European Union.
Hang on a minute there, you're saying there that people like what the SNP are doing, things such as education, but actually there's been a lot of criticism, hasn't there, about the education at the minute in Scotland. I mean, if you look at the 2015 PISA report, for example, I mean, that's the most latest one, even though it is a couple of years ago. Scottish schools recording their worst ever performance, scores for maths, reading and science all declining. I mean, it's not as if it's a really rosy picture on education, is it?
No, I think there's a lot of change in education, but I think the harsh reality is, and John Swinney, who is our Education Secretary, gave an outstanding speech yesterday about how we're closing the attainment gap. We're very serious about closing that attainment gap. That is working, and we'll continue that progress over the course of the next few years. I think we've actually got a very proud record when it comes to educational attainment.
I mean, Nicola Sturgeon said she wanted to make education her number one priority, and yet, very recently we've seen stories from Reform Scotland, for example, saying there's been a reduction in the number of courses that Scottish school children can study. Holyrood's Education Committee hearing evidence that in some schools 14-year-olds and 18-year-olds are being taught in the same class. I mean, you're talking a lot about universities, but when it comes to schools, surely there are things that you should be focusing on now to try and improve what many families and children are experiencing.
Well, of course, we've had the introduction of the national curriculum here in Scotland, something that was supported on a cross-party basis. And what we're seeking to do is to make sure that we're preparing young people for life after school.